when the United States was just on the eastern side of what today is America, I can say when the United States only went as far as from the east to the Mississippi River. Uh, you know, various state laws were making. I mean, various states were making laws to get rid of the Indian problem, and one of the things they did was offer money for scalps. So the more Indian scalps you had, this is the evidence that you've killed an Indian. So you can take that to some place and you get money for that. So that's how a lot of these white people were doing that. There was a lot of scalps, and it was it was a lot to carry because they would wipe out entire villages, innocent villages. And so what they would do is they would skin uh, an Indian man, just rip his skin off of his body, and from that skin they would make bags, and then they would put the scalps into these bags of Native American skin. I use the term Indian because to me it's not such a big deal. I'm not so hung up on labels. Okay, if you say Indian, most of the world is gonna know you mean Wild West people in North America, 1800s. Yeah, and the other one is India from India. Indian from India. So I don't really get. I don't make such a big fuss because if you say Native American, most people have to think twice about what that is. But if you say Indian, they know what you're talking about. Okay, and also if you really, really, really get serious, when you're native to a land, that means you were born there. Well, America is just filled with lots of white people that were born in America. So technically, they are Native American because they were born in America. So I don't like to use the term Native American. I might say native, yeah, and indigenous sounds too scientific to me. I like the name First Nations. I wish we would use that. Yeah, the natives in Canada they use that First Nations, and I wish in America they would use it too because it sounds cool. Because we were there first, so it's technically correct. First Nations. I like that. Yeah. So I wish the Indians in America would use that term too, but I'm going to use the term Indian because when I say that, people know what I'm talking about. Okay. So for those of you that have a problem with hearing the word Indian, get over it. It's just a title, and it 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 really doesn't have any bad things associated to it, other than Columbus was lost and thought he was in India, so he called us Indians. Yeah, but the other thing is that when Columbus realized that he was not in India, he started to call uh, the native peoples Red Indians. And so when people are talking about Indians being the Red Nations, this is false. This is coming from Columbus, actually, Christopher Columbus. So because in really really old Lakota songs, we never refer to ourselves as Red Nations. We refer to ourselves as Ikche Oyate or Ikche Wichasha. Yeah, that's what we refer to ourselves in sacred songs. We never say Oyate Luta. We never say that. That's that's not ancient at all. So when somebody, if you hear Native people saying red, you know, like in this Cannonball, North Dakota place, there's three camps there, and there's one that's called the Red Warrior Camp, and this one is, I really am questioning that because it's a way of saying Indians only, and that's not what our ancestors stood for. Yeah, our ancestors, like I said, the term was Che Oyate. This means human Nation. And so when I see red associated with terms Indians or natives or indigenous or whatever, I don't like this because it's false. Yeah, this is a modern concept. It's not traditional whatsoever. We are not red people. I'm brown. Yeah, I'm brown and fluffy and soft like a fry bread. So I'm not red. the the only really red Indians I've seen were sunburned Indians. Yeah, and if you look at photos from the 1800s of Indian people, look at them. These guys and gals look almost black. They don't look like they're any shade of red because they were in the sun all day long. So they look almost black. That they're not red. Okay? So red does in Lakota world, red does not represent Indian people. Red represents life because it's the color of blood. So when Lakota people are saying Chankuluta, the red road, this does not mean the Indian way. It means the way to live. Yeah, it does not mean the Indian way. Absolutely not. So I just want to insert that here. Okay. All right. So anyway, getting back to this redskin thing, a lot of, like I said, they put their scalps into these bags of Indian skin, and they would take these to these locations where they were whoever was buying the scalps, and then they saw these bags and they say, "Hey, how much you want to sell that for?" So next thing you know, they were selling these Indian skin next. Yeah, that was the next thing. And what they say, honestly, this is absolute American history. I like that. Absolute American history. What a cool title. Um, these these people who were buying the skin, they treated it like leather. Yeah, and so what they would do is they would process it like leather, and then they would make clothes out of it, like vests and hats and lampshades. This is no joke. Yeah, this is no joke. This is absolute serious business. This is not a scary Halloween story. This is the real truth. Okay? And a lot of this was purchased by royalty in Europe. So in many countries in Europe, where these monarchs keep their treasures, there are clothes and furniture made from skin from American Indians. This is absolute truth. Even the Queen of England has something like this. This is absolute truth. This is no joke. Yeah. So this is the term redskin. It is a very racist term, and this is the story behind it. It is a very bad thing, and you think about it, it's like a scary thing too. Yeah, so that could also fit the Halloween theme. Just imagine that you're in the village. You're an Indian person. You're living in the village, 1800s. You're living in a peaceful village. You're not causing anybody any problem. You have a treaty with the United States, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, here comes all these white people, and they're burning down the camp, and they're killing everybody, even little babies. They're killing them all and then taking their hair and then ripping the skin off of their bodies. Some of these people were still alive. So they're ripping the skin off their bodies so they can sell it, and then they just leave them there to die with no skin. Wow. They really should make a movie on that. Seriously. Yeah. And so when people are saying how bad ISIS is and Al Qaeda and things like that, you can look at what America did to native indigenous people. They did very similar, if not worse, tragedies.